Hey everybody, how's it going? Quick video today, just a few things I picked up on Blu-ray and DVD. It felt like showing off for you folks that are interested. Real quick, what am I watching on Blu-ray right now in terms of like dramatic TV? John Adams. This is a HBO miniseries from I want to say like 2008 or 9. I've seen this one other time a couple of years ago, and it's just a fantastic show. So I felt like watching it again. Highly recommend this. It has a great Blu-ray release, tons of special features. It looks great. It's a great release. Two shows on DVD. These are kind of random shows, but I really like them. The first one is I should put a. I'm not going to do it. I was going to put a sound effect in, but Law and Order SVU. Very random. I mean, I think a lot of us like SVU. It's kind of a comfort show, but I was like, why don't I should just have at least one season? And I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. I've thought about this, but I tend to pay attention more to movies and shows. Well, certainly I pay attention to movies when I'm watching them, but sometimes we all put a show on in the background or whatever. I like to watch Law and Order at night sometimes before I go to bed. It feels like a nighttime show to me. And I find that with like TV shows on DVD, I tend to just pay attention more. I mean, yeah, I've seen this a million times, but I tend to focus more on the show, and sometimes I even pick things up I didn't miss because I watched it once and then I kind of half paid attention 4 other times. So, anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, I just thought I would pick this up. Just to say I have at least one, not really to say, but so I can own one season of this show on DVD because I really like Law and Order SVU. Maybe not so much the later seasons, but the early seasons are really great. So these are kind of all over the place. I don't know the availability of them. You see them all over the place. Sometimes they're really cheap. Like I got this real cheap and lucked out. In fact, I believe this was used, so it was peanuts. But sometimes they're really expensive, and I'm going to show this off. This is a ridiculous. Look at this. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, come on. These are fine. They don't look super great, but they look good enough for me. And weirdly, the low quality TV look to this, the 480p look, kind of gives it some charm to because in these earlier seasons, New York City, I felt like was a character in the show, and it kind of got away from that in later seasons. So it's almost like it makes that more in the forefront. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of rambling, but anyways, I really like SVU, so I picked those up. The next TV show it certainly is way more random, and I don't think as many people watch this, but it's certainly a popular show, and that is. You're never going to guess what it is. Forensic Files. Yes, Forensic Files. This is, if you don't know this show, it was on Crime or Court TV, which is like True TV now or something like that. And this is just a true crime show about crime and using forensics to solve the crime. And it does cover a wide range of topics. It doesn't just deal with murder and things like that. There are a number of episodes that deal with, like, there was an episode about a famous train accident. There's a couple episodes on infectious diseases and how they use forensics to solve the case. So it's not all murder, though certainly most of the episodes are kind of murder. And it has a whodunit format. And, while these kinds of shows are a dime a dozen, this show there's a lot of seasons. There's probably at least 15 seasons of this. The first, let's say, 8 seasons, they have really good writing. I mean, as weird as it sounds to say, this is kind of a comfort show to me. I used to watch this probably when I was too young to be watching it, but I watched this show in high school. Like I've watched this show for almost 20 years, probably 20 years at this point. And it is weirdly a comfort show. And if you know this show, then you know that Peter Thomas's narration is incredible. He has such a commanding voice, and he just does it. The show would never be the same without him. There is a newer series of this called Forensic Files 2, and I checked it out, and it's just not the same with the narration. So, yeah, this is a fun crime show to watch. Like I mentioned, it's often framed as a whodunit, and it's pretty fun to watch. I will say the early seasons of this show are freaky. Like the show can get actually pretty scary for a crime show, which I think is why I liked it when I was younger, because it was a bit scarier than your average true crime show. But specifically, the early seasons are like really freaky, and the music is like terrifying. And you could tell that someone was like, "We got to change the music because it's too scary," because they swapped it out. Anyways, though, this is a 12 episode set on serial killers. I just kind of wanted one, and that's what I went with. There's some, excuse me, sorry about that noise. There's some great, I've seen every episode of the show, so some of these I know and are pretty great. So, anyways, Forensic Files, you can watch it everywhere, though. You can watch it on YouTube, you can find it wherever. But I will say that it is a little hard to find. Sometimes I find that that show jumps around streaming services often, whereas like SVU is normally on Hulu. The next, anyway, sorry, that was like way longer than I thought for the shows, but I'm quite a big fan of them. The next is a 4K of a film that I have not seen and have been wanting to see for a long time, and I'm very excited to check it out. And it is a film called Everything. Sorry, I don't want to get the name wrong. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I know the name. I just didn't want to say it wrong. And I'm just really looking forward to watching this, so I thought I would show that off. And the final two. And before I finish this out, I want to say it might come before this video, so this might be redundant, and I'll probably say that in the other one, but I've actually watched a lot of streaming movies, something I don't often do, but I did get a trial for the Criterion channel, Criterion channel, the streaming service for them, and I've been watching a lot of cool movies lately, so some A24 movies. So I'll definitely do a video where I talk about the movies I've watched on streaming recently. There's actually been quite a few. So the final two, I'm going to do them in order of how much I like them, though I like them both a lot. Blu-ray of Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. I had never seen this. I had wanted to, and I watched it recently, and I really like this movie a lot. It wasn't actually what I thought it would be. I had a feeling it was going to be an artsy movie. The Witch is pretty artsy. It's a pretty high concept kind of movie. I love that film. I think The Witch is fantastic. And I had a feeling that this was going to be like an art house version of a cosmic horror story. And it kind of is at times, but it's not really. It's a character piece. It's a drama. It's kind of a delirium piece, and it's a cosmic horror story. So it's a lot of things. It's not, like I said, exactly what I thought it was going to be like. And maybe that's not, I like this a lot, but it didn't quite like blow me away in the way I thought. That's just my own expectations, but I still thought it was a great movie. It's shot in not in a 4:3 ratio, but something close to that, or maybe even more claustrophobic, but a square picture with black bars on the sides. This was shot on film. It looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, really, the cinematography in here is as good as it gets for modern cinema. I mean, this is top of the line stuff. The film stock they shot this on in black and white was this sort of specific film they went for. It looks incredible. It is astonishingly good looking, and this Blu-ray is fantastic. I mean, there was a couple scenes where I was like, I don't know how much better a 4K can look than this. It's that good. And also quite a good audio track as well. The movie's good, and I really quite like the first hour, and I do like I like the whole film. I don't want to spoil this for folks who haven't seen it, though I will say the story becomes borderline incomprehensible at about an hour in, and it does match the tone, the mood of the film, but it just kind of goes completely off the fucking rails. It's totally insane. So you're either going to love it or you're not going to like it. And I thought it was great, so I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again. I think Eggers has another film called The Northman, which I haven't seen. So let me know if you've seen that and you like it. It looks interesting, and I know he's doing Nosferatu soon. So, artistry-wise, this guy's got the goods. The last film I saw, this is a 4K, and this movie was really good. Really, really good. Very entertaining. Again, a movie that was not quite what I thought it was going to be. And in this case, it was a nice surprise, and that is a movie called The Green Knight. I'm sure a lot of you folks have heard of this. What's the guy's name? David Lowery. He was the director, and did he write it as well? Yes. Um, this is like a retelling of an Arthurian fairy tale, or not, maybe not a fairy tale. Yeah, I guess so. A legend, old medieval tale, and it's his take on it. And I thought this was absolutely fantastic. This is like a dark fantasy adventure. You know, I think that this is definitely not for everyone. It's definitely a high concept kind of film. I thought that in terms of what he was trying to do for the story, it was actually quite tightly paced, but I think for folks that aren't used to this stuff, they're going to find the pace glacial. It's very slow in that regard. It's very meditative and quiet at times. It's a movie that, you see a high fantasy concept, well, not a high fantasy, but a high concept fantasy, and you expect Game of Thrones action or something, and this just meditates and soaks itself in the atmosphere. And I've read some medieval fantasy, and I really enjoy it. And this mirrors that. It's a very much a character on a quest, and you're following them on their journey. And of course, they learn a lesson along the way. But a lot of this movie is just, the scenes are just what the character finds along the way in their journey, and you just get little cool scenes of what new characters they meet. I don't know if picaresque is the right way to describe that, because those are often very humorous, and this is not really not really humorous. It's very serious, but I liked that aspect of it so much. I like that kind of storytelling where, this doesn't have like a tight standard plot, but it's such an adventure. I would consider this kind of an adventure movie. Just the way the character is meeting new people and gets himself into all of these different sorts of predicaments. And I really like every scene in here was awesome. My only complaint really was I wish it was longer. It ran about 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I wish it was maybe like 2.5, 2:45, just to get a couple more adventures in there. But it didn't overstay its welcome by any means. Great visuals, great acting. The acting here was great. The visuals were excellent. My only complaint, and I'm just really nitpicking, this was shot, I think, on an Arri Alexa camera, which is, I think, shoots at like 6K or something, digital picture. So it's very clean, and, if you're someone that likes a really crisp, clean image, that's great on this disc. But I like grain in my picture, and I don't know, I just felt like there was, at times, like the story is so dark and macabre at times, and I felt like that clean picture maybe even did a disservice, but I don't know. Who knows? It still looks great, and it has a really good Dolby Atmos track as well. Not one of the best, but definitely a completely serviceable Dolby Atmos track. So this movie was great. It was like it's a super rewatchable film, and it was a lot of fun. So that's everything. Let me know if you have any of these or you've seen any. You got any recommendations? That'd be cool to hear too. I'll be back at you next time with something else, and I'll see you. Peace out and have a great day.